Hello guys, today we're going to study 1.7 linear inequalities and absolute value inequalities. Before we start example 1, let's take a look at the interval notation form. Maybe this is new for you. You can feel free to pause this video and then take a look at this table. I'm going to explain a couple of them. If you look at this, parenthesis a comma b is the same thing as x is greater than a less than b. And then on the graph here, we're just going to have the parenthesis on both sides. We don't really care very much about this set builder notation because from now on, most of the answers you need to write it in interval notation form. So let's take the second one, bracket a comma b brackets. So here we have x is greater equal than a and less equal than b. Okay, so when you have a bracket, what that actually means, it means is including the numbers. In the past, you might have learned is if we have a graph like this, something like this, all right? You have the number line, so the solid circle, that means is including. And then we have something like this. The first one, that means it's an open circle. That means excluding. I'm not sure if you guys learned this way, but if you did, that means open circle, it's just you're going to have a parenthesis on both sides. Okay? So then you look at the third one, solid circle for the brackets, open circle for the parenthesis. Alright, that is how it look like if we have open circle and the closed circle. So again, you can pause this video to take a look and then I highly recommend you guys to write this on your notes until you're used to it. Okay, let's start with example 1 using interval notation. So here we have a couple examples. Express each interval in set builder notation and the graph. Okay, so here we have part A. Part A, we have -1 and 4 is a parenthesis. So on this, if you look at this, it's a parenthesis on the left side and bracket on the right side. Okay, it's really similar to this number 4 right here. 1, 2, 3, 4 if we count. So I can write this as x is such x is greater than -1 and less equal than 4. Okay, you can match this. Once you're used to it, you can just remember anytime we have a parenthesis, that means it's either greater or less. You won't have equal sign in there. Okay, you have bracket, always you're going to have an equal sign right here. So let me just change the color for a little bit. So here, all right, that's where this come from. Okay, if you have an equal sign, you're going to have a bracket. All right, in this case, we're going to just label this -1 right here. Okay, and then we have a 4. So let's say this is a number line, and then here we have a 0 somewhere, which we don't really care too much about this. So if we have the graph in this open circle, hopefully you guys learned this before, all right? So we're going to graph in this form, open circle, and then here we have a solid circle right there, okay? Then our solution is just going to be between. So let me just use this color for the solution set. And in your homework, often they just like you to graph this. They're just going to match something like this. All right, I'm going to go ahead and do this part. Whatever you have right here is a parenthesis. We're going to have a parenthesis here, and we have a bracket. And then your solution just going to have in the middle. All right, let's look at part B and part C. I'm going to go ahead and give you guys a moment to think. You can pause this. Okay. Bracket -2.5 and 4 brackets. So again, it's straightforward anytime you have a bracket. So we're going to write x is greater equal than negative 2.5 and less equal than 4. And then your graph just going to be something like this, negative 2.5, and then here we have a 4. So let's say that's the case. And then you're just going to graph right there, right? And then in the middle is the solution. Again, it's very straightforward. If I have the graph with this, all right, with open circle and closed circle, in this case, anytime you're going to have a equal sign in there or a bracket, so that means both they are closed circle. Both they are closed circle. Okay, I'm going to graph this really often, so make sure you actually remember this form right here. All right. Okay, and then part C, we'll have parenthesis negative 4 and positive infinity. If from the graph you should realize positive infinity and negative infinity, anytime you see those, you're always going to have a parenthesis. You never use a bracket for those. Parenthesis negative 4 to positive infinity. We can graph like something like this, right? Start with negative 4 is the open circle, negative 4, and then all the way to the positive numbers. So if I do this, so my solution is go this way. And then if you match the table right here, so we're going to have x is such, all right? So you're going to have a number that's right here. Let me see. Right? So that means that x is greater than negative 4. Okay? Greater than negative 4. So this is straightforward here. We're going to have x is negative 4 and the positive infinity. Okay? So that is how you draw it on the graph. I'm going to skip example 2. Let's move on example 3. Example 3, solving a inequality. So here I leave the table right there. So let's go ahead and look this. So how we solve this? We're going to have 3 minus 2x less than equal than 11. So here we have an inequality. We're going to subtract 3 both sides. We're going to have negative 2x less equal than 11 minus 3. Subtract 3 both sides, or you can think about positive number moving to another side to become negative number. Then we're going to write negative 2x less equal than 8. So now we're going to divide negative 2 both sides. So anytime we divide the negative numbers, our sign must change. Okay, so that will be, this is going to be canceled out. And then here we're going to have an x greater equal than negative 4. This is very important. Anytime we divide a negative number, we must change the sign. So once we have this, we want to write it in a notation form. So now, before I write it in notation form, since I'm not used to, so what I'm going to do is, I'm going to find my 0 and find my negative 4. Okay, I know it's a greater equal than, so that means it's a solid circle. And then greater equal than, so what I'm going to do is, I'm going to color this side since it's greater equal than. Once we have this, I'm going to write it in the notation form. So greater equal, anytime we have an equal, we said we're going to have a bracket. Another important part is you're always going to write an interval notation form from the left to right. Okay? Always a smaller number first. In this case, the left number is negative 4. And then comma. So it goes on forever. Therefore, we're going to have a positive infinity. Then we know positive infinity, we always use a parenthesis. Then we're done. That's how I write it in the interval notation form. Let's go ahead and work on example 4. So here we have negative 2x minus 4 greater than x plus 5. The same thing as we're doing linear equation. we're going to put all the x on one side, all the number on another side. So in this case, we're going to move the x to the other side, the positive x, and then that'll be subtract x, go to another side. So let me go ahead, maybe I'll use a different color. Positive, go to another side, turn into negative, right? Negative. And then we're going to write greater than, this doesn't change, greater than. Okay, we're moving negative 4 to another side, this number. They change the sign again, that will become positive. Of course, like what I said many times, if you guys don't want to do this, you can subtract x both sides and then add 4 both sides. You still get the same thing. I just find it this way actually be faster when you're dealing with a lot of numbers. Negative 2x minus x will give you negative 3x. Collect terms. That will be greater than positive 9. So again, once we have here, we're going to divide by negative 3 both sides. Remember, anytime you divide by negative number, you must change the sign. So we're going to have x less than negative 3. So once we have here, we're going to have draw a number line. And then I'm going to have, right, find my 0, find my negative 3. So since it's a less than, there's no equal sign in there, I'm going to do an open circle. Less than, that will go the left side. Once we have this, I'm going to write it in the notation form. Again, how I write this, I'm going to start with always the left side. Okay, the left side, if I want to draw it, I'll go on forever. So that means I'm going to start with negative infinity. We said the negative and the positive infinity always going to use a parenthesis because we cannot include a specific number. Okay, negative infinity, comma, and then I'm going to stop at negative 3. And then we said it's an open circle, is less than, that means I need another parenthesis here. Then I finish this question. Let's look at example 5. Solving a linear inequality contains fractions. It's very similar to the linear equation. First of all, you need to find the least common multiple. In this case, we have a denominator 4, 3, and 4. So that means the least common multiple is 4 times 3, which is 12. So now I'm going to multiply every single term by my least common multiple right there. So multiply 12 every single term. So 12 and 4, so we're going to cancel those. So we're going to have 1 and 3, so which means 3 parenthesis x plus 3 greater equal than, okay, again this is 1, is now cancel is 4. So we're going to have 4 times x minus 2, then plus this, that will be 3. Right, plus 3. So once we have this, remember, if your least common multiple is correct, you shouldn't have a fraction after you multiply it. Okay, you shouldn't have a fraction. We need to do a distribution. We're going to have 3x plus 9 greater equal than 4x minus 8 and plus 3. You can do this by any method. So I'm just going to move all the x to the left, move all the constant number to the right side. So I'm just going to change the sign. I'm going to have a 3x minus a 4x greater equal than, we're going to have a negative 8 plus 3, also subtract 9. Okay, I'll move to another side to change the sign, negative 9. So then I'm going to have negative x greater equal than, here the whole thing, that will become negative 14. Okay, negative 8 plus 3 is negative 5. Minus 9 is negative 14. Divide by negative 1 both sides. Anytime we divide by a negative number, so we're going to switch the sign. So that will be x less equal than 14. Once we have this, let me just write over here. I'm going to graph this on a number line. So I'm going to have, here I'm going to find my 0. Again, you don't need to find a 0 if you don't want to, okay? So it doesn't really matter. So I'm just going to write right here, 14. So since we have less equal than 14. Okay, this is very important. Less equal than 14. That means this number must be a solid circle. Okay, then since we're saying the less than, so we have to go to the left side. So that is my solution on the number line. Now we have to write this as a notation form. We said we have to always start from the left to the right, right? Notation form. So in this case, if I go to the left, that will go on forever. So that's why we're going to have parenthesis negative infinity, comma, we're going to start 14. Since less equal than, we have to use a bracket. That is our final answer. And then on your graph, probably on your homework, so all they did is they just graph it in this form. I'm pretty sure on your homework, okay? The multiple choice, all you have to do is just match the graph. Example 6, so we have part A. Go ahead and do a distribution or just solve it like we are solving a linear equation. So we're going to have a 2x plus 8 greater than 2x plus 3. 2x minus 2x greater than 3 minus 8. Then you're going to have a 2x minus 2x is just going to be 0, and then greater than negative 5. Is it true 0 is greater than negative 5? In this case, is obviously this is true, right? It's a true statement. What this implies, no matter what x is going to be, you always, this statement is true. That means my x can be any number, right? Now I can draw this on the number line. That will be all the number works. I'm still going to start from the left to the right. So all the way to the left is negative infinity. All the way to the right, that will be positive infinity. So basically this is all the real numbers. We also have a part B. Again, we can do this solving by using x. We're going to move this to another side, subtract x both sides. Less equal than negative 2, that will be subtract 7. So we're going to have a 0 less equal than negative 9. If we look at this, is a 0 ever going to be less than negative 9? Is it true or false? In this case, it's a false. That means no matter what x is going to be, it's always going to be false. That means that there's no solution, which means you can write it as an empty set. Alright, that is our example 6. Let's move on to the next example. Example 7, solving a compound inequality. So how can we solve this? We can subtract 1 every single term. Then we're going to have negative 4. Okay, and then we're going to have 2x. Then here we're going to have 2. So 2x is greater than negative 4 and less equal than 2. The ones we have here, we're going to divide every single term by 2. Remember, you're solving for x. So this is going to be canceled. So we're going to have x is greater than negative 2 and less equal than 1. Once we have this, we're going to put this in the number line. We're going to have negative, so negative 2. We'll have a 0 right here, and then we're going to have 1 right here. X greater than negative 2, we're going to know this is an open circle. Less equal than 1, then that means a solid circle. So my solution is between. So I'm going to write this as notation form right here. So my final answer, we still have to write from the left to the right. Okay, on the left side, we're going to have negative 2. So what should we use? Since it's an open circle, we're going to use parenthesis. Okay, and then we're going to have a comma. And to the right side, we're ending at 1. And then this is a solid circle. Also, we said if we have an equal sign in there, that means we're going to have a bracket. So we're done. That's our solution. We're going to stop right here. So I'm going to make another video for 1.72 absolute inequality. So thank you for watching. Remember, you're doing an awesome job. And please make sure to ask me questions. Bye-bye.